The history of Arsenal Football Club. Today, Arsenal are one of the most recognized teams in world football and one of the biggest clubs in England. With 48 trophies, Arsenal is the third most successful club domestically in England. But they never used to be this big. Founded in October 1886 by a small group of workers from the Woolwich Arsenal Armament Factory, Arsenal is one of the oldest clubs in England. Over the years, the club has transcended from the depth of darkness to the very top. Woolwich Arsenal played their first professional game in 1891, becoming only London professional club and the first club from south of Birmingham City to be elected to the league. Arsenal's jersey then was a dark red kit with long sleeve, a collar and 3 buttons down the front. The shirt was worn with white knee-length shorts and heavy woolen socks. The first game of Arsenal's league career was on Saturday, September 2nd, 1891, against another newly elected club, Newcastle United. It took place at the Mahon Ground and ended 2-2 with Shaw and Elliott on target for the Gunners. Arsenal played at Woolwich until the end of the 1912-1913 season. The move away from Woolwich was a financial decision, and the new home of the club became Highbury, which remained the home of Arsenal until 2006, when the club moved up the road to the Emirates. Having left Woolwich in 1913, Woolwich was removed from the name of the club in 1914, and since then, the London club has been known as Arsenal Football Club. The move away from Woolwich and removal of Woolwich from the name of the club were done by Norris. In 1910, Norris and William Hall bought shares at Woolwich Arsenal. After the club had gone into voluntary liquidation in 1912, Norris became the club chairman. He is notably remembered for using his influence in Arsenal's promotion to the First Division in 1919. In 1919, Arsenal was miraculously promoted to the top flight in spite of finishing 6th the previous season, the 1914-1915 season. This promotion came at the expense of other clubs, most notably Arsenal's arch rival Tottenham Hotspur. While some claim that Norris bribed his way into the promotion, report shows that Arsenal were promoted because they received 10 votes, although how those votes were obtained remain unknown. Although Norris enjoyed a successful spell as the chairman of Arsenal and helped set a good foundation, he was not in charge by the time Arsenal started dominating English football. Norris was actually later banned from football in 1927 for illegal transfer and allegedly giving bribes to the chairman of Football League Club in 1919, the very same year that Arsenal was miraculously promoted. Although it can be said that Arsenal's promotion to the First Division in 1919 was illegal, Arsenal remain one of the only clubs that has not been relegated to the Second Division from the top flight in English football, along with Manchester United and Everton. Now, you can't find an account of the history of Arsenal that doesn't make reference to the great inventor Hubert Chapman. Norris' name will forever be in the history of Arsenal, not just because of the 1919 saga, but also because of his decision to appoint Hubert Chapman as a team manager in the summer of 1925. After flirting with relegation in the 24-25 season, Norris made the bold decision to sack manager Leslie Kingston and replace him with Hubert Chapman, who had won the FA Cup and Division 1 titles with Huddersfield Town in the early 1920s. Although Norris later cited Kingston's sacking as the only decision he never regretted, it is arguably the best decision Arsenal has ever made. Hubert Chapman had an immediate impact at Arsenal. In his first season, the new manager steered the Gunners to an FA Cup quarter-final and a second place finish in the First Division, the highest league placing in their history at the time. In 1927, Hubert Chapman led Arsenal to their first FA Cup final but lost to Cardiff City. He would later win the trophy for Arsenal in 1930 when he defeated his former team Huddersfield Town at Wembley. The FA Cup win was the foundation of greater things to come. The triumph signaled the start of Arsenal's prolonged dominance of English football, and with the likes of Alex James and Cliff Bastin in the ranks, Arsenal became the envy of footballing world. In the 1930-31 season, Arsenal won their first ever league title after amassing a record-breaking 66 points. Hubert Chapman continued his great managerial display in the 1931-32 season, but unfortunately lost the FA Cup final to Newcastle United and also missed out on the league, placing only 2 points behind Everton. He won only the FA Charity Shield that season. Then in the 1933-34 season, Arsenal, under the tutelage of Hubert Chapman, lifted the Division 1 title. Under Chapman, Arsenal fans enjoyed their first real taste of success, and if anything, they didn't want the Chapman era to end. During the early hours of January 6, 1934, Hubert Chapman died at his home in Hendon, age 55, and the Chapman era unfortunately ended. Although the Chapman era ended, Arsenal's glory days didn't end with it, as the club continued to build on the foundation of their legendary manager. The team later won the league title at the end of the 1934-35 season under the tutelage of George Allison. George Allison proved to be up to the task as Arsenal burst the 1930s. The Second World War placed a hold on football and on Arsenal's dominance. Although the team retained George Allison after the war, Arsenal itself didn't retain its dominance. In fact, the club were close to relegation in the 1947-48 season. Allison retired at the end of that season and was replaced by Tom Whittaker, who started by winning the league in the 1947-48 season. They later won the third FA Cup in 1950 and then won the record-breaking 7th championship in the 1952-53 season, making Arsenal the most successful team in England history at the time. Arsenal enjoyed successful spell under Billy Wright, Betty Mee and Neil. But another remarkable era in Arsenal history is that of George Graham. George Graham's reign was notable for the strict discipline put in place both on and off the pitch. Defensively, Arsenal was second to none, as George Graham was set about building a back four that would serve the Gunners for over a decade. With young captain Tony Adams at its centerpiece, the attack was also great, with the likes of David Rocastle, Paul Mason and Alan Smith providing the Gunners with an attacking threat. To date, George Graham is still regarded as the man who laid the foundation for Arsenal's modern-day success. George Graham managed Arsenal for 12 years. He was sacked in 1995 when he was found to have taken kickback from agent Orion Hughes for signing certain players. He was replaced with Bruce Rourke, who lasted for only one season. The man regarded as one of the best managers of all time, whose name only depicts that he was born to manage Arsenal. Arsene Wenger was appointed in 1996. Some even thought it was named after the club. There is an argument on who is the greatest Arsenal manager of all time. Some have said it's Chapman, some say George Graham, but majority thinks and believe it is Arsene Wenger. Arsenal fans, who do you think is the greatest manager in the club history? Arsene Wenger arrived in London in October 1996 after notable success at Monaco and a stint in charge of Japanese side Gompus 8. He was Arsenal's first ever boss from outside of the UK. Arsene Wenger started his time at Arsenal on a high. Although he finished third in the 1996-97 season, he won both the league and the FA Cup in his first full season in charge of Arsenal and also in the 2001-2002 season. Arsene Wenger isn't only famous for the trophies he won on or for the invincible of 2003-2004 season, but for the way he played and the discipline he embedded in his player and maybe indirectly the other players and teams in the league. Arsene Wenger transformed the lives of his players both on and off the pitch, and this brought wonderful results for Arsenal. The invisible season will forever be remembered as one of the greatest achievements in football. To not lose any of the 38 games against some of the world's best club in one of the world's best league, unbelievable. If you want to know more, go and check the history of how Arsenal played 38 matches, won 26 and drew 12. Having won their third league title in style in the 2003-2004 season, many thought Arsenal were going to win the next season and many more league seasons to come, but it seems the team remained stagnant since then. Although since the 2003-2004 season, Arsenal have won numerous FA Cup, Community Shield and Emirates Cup, the team is here to win the Premier League again or European trophy. After 22 years in charge, the longest reigning Arsenal manager, Arsene Wenger, announced his decision to step down in 2008 and was replaced by Unai Emery. Emery was then sacked after one season in charge and replaced by Mikel Arteta. Former Arsenal captain Mikel Arteta came back to the club as manager of the team in December 2019. His first 3 seasons ended poorly as he failed to finish in the top 4, finishing 8th in the position in both seasons. He then finished 5th in his 3rd season and has fought for the league until the final day in the last 2 seasons. Agonizingly finished 2nd in both last 2 of the 3 seasons behind Manchester City. Last season, the Gunners also finished 2nd behind Liverpool, who clipped them to the title with 10 points difference. But the great question is, can Arsenal regain its lost glory? Arsenal have brought in quality players under Mikel Arteta, with the likes of Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, Kyle Havertz, William Saliba, and Leandro Trossard. Will Arsenal reclaim their position at the top again? Can Arsenal finally lay claim to the Premier League title after over 2 decades of being without the league? That is the story of Arsenal Football Club.